legendary investor Charlie Munger said something very interesting. Tell me a place where I will die and I will never go over there. Similarly, as investors, I will talk about 10 deadly mistakes which ideally you should never do so that you are able to achieve all your personal finance goals with least amount of stress. Let's try to understand these 10 deadly mistakes which I've seen generally investors doing. Starting from first, which is called as not defining your goals. Before traveling anywhere and choosing a right vehicle, you have to know where exactly you want to go. If you want to travel from Mumbai to Delhi, you know the distance is long. Either you will take a car or a train or a flight. Because the distance is very far, you will not start walking. Similarly, if you want to achieve your goals which are far, like maybe after 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, then equity is a great asset class to achieve that goal. Similarly, if your goal is quite near, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year or 5 years down the line, then fixed income as an asset class makes sense. The first biggest blunder which investors do is start investing without defining their goals. Have clear goals and then start investing. Second big mistake, which is called as not having asset allocation. What is asset allocation? It's a very simple principle, but unfortunately, majority of the investors forget about it. Have equity asset class to create wealth. Have fixed income asset class to preserve your money. Have little bit of gold into your portfolio to manage during uncertain times. Also have some international portfolio. The idea is when you have a combination of all of this, the beauty is that at different points of time, different asset classes do well. It's generally seen that sometimes domestic equity does well, sometimes gold does well, sometimes fixed income does well, sometimes international equity does well. The beauty is that one of the asset class will generally do well. If one is doing well, the other is not doing well, overall your portfolio is doing well if you have all the assets into your portfolio. The second important thing is have asset allocation. Don't have your entire portfolio in just one asset class. Third thing, and it's such a simple idea which is called as stick to your core competency. Ideally, let's say if I don't know driving, I will have a driver. If I don't know how to cook, I will have a cook at my place who will help me cook my food. I should focus my energy on things which I'm good at, and all the things which I'm not good in, I should outsource it. We all think just opening a Demat account is all it requires, to buy shares. That even a 6-year-old boy or a girl can do it. But the idea is, we all know, buying stocks requires a lot of homework, a lot of research, and a lot of analysis. If it is not your core competency, outsource it to an equity mutual fund or a debt mutual fund. Let the experts manage it. You have to keep your ego aside, be humble, understand it's not my core competency, and give it to your experts. Fourth point, today we all feel that we have a crystal ball and we want to time the market. There are so many noise and so many news out there which says markets are at all-time high, markets might crash, this is a good time to invest, and people are all trying to time the market. Data shows that timing the market is the futile activity because it's practically impossible to predict how the market will behave in next 1 month, 1 quarter, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. In short term, markets move on sentiments and it's practically impossible to predict sentiments. Market moves on earnings from a long-term perspective. It's generally seen time in the market is much more important than timing in the market. Timing the market is a futile activity. If you are an equity investor who's investing, give time. Give 7 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Don't focus on timing because all the news and the noise which you are hearing basically have a shelf life of only few days, and this information doesn't matter because your horizon is 10 year plus. Fifth reason, the blunder which people do is that they are not able to understand the average return of an asset class. I'm sure when you read articles on personal finance which says equity in the long term has given you around 12-13% on an average. The mistake what we all do, we think is that average returns means 12-13% every year. But the beauty is, if you look at the past historic returns, hardly market gives you 12% return. There are years when market gives you 20%, 30%, 10%, 5%, 0%, negative 10, negative 20 or negative 30. The idea is 12% is on an average, but it doesn't mean 12% every year. So when somebody says average return of 12%, understand it's not 12% every year. On an average over a longer period of time, you should get around 12, but the journey is full of ups and downs. It's also generally seen, and this is a big blunder which a lot of investors do, is leverage. When the going is good, people think equity is such a cakewalk. People start borrowing money. They think, okay, I can borrow at a low interest rate, I can invest into equity markets at higher returns, and I can make good returns. It makes sense till the going is good. Leverage is like a double-edged sword. When the going is good, it gives you good returns, but the moment the market direction changes, that same leverage will actually ruin your entire portfolio and you will be out of the market. So never take leverage. Stick to what you earn, stick to what you save and invest. Never get tempted with the idea of leverage. The seventh mistake which generally investors do is that they get carried away with returns and sometimes they invest into illiquid assets. Just to give you an example, real estate is a good asset class. You should have equity mutual funds, debt mutual funds, gold, international assets, everything into your portfolio. And if you are a HNI, you can also invest into real estate. I'm not talking about a house. House is something which all of us require to stay. I'm talking about investment besides your house. The idea what I've seen a lot of investors that they don't look at equity mutual funds or debt mutual funds or gold or maybe international mutual funds. They have all their money into illiquid assets like real estate. The problem is when you require money, let's say you want money for your children's higher education, you can't sell a kitchen or a balcony to fund that required goal. And it's generally seen that times when you require money, it takes almost 6 months or maybe a year or 2 years to sell that asset. The problem what a lot of investors do, they invest bulk of their money into illiquid assets. Try to build a portfolio which has majority of its portfolio towards liquid assets. Nothing against real estate, but majority of your portfolio should be towards liquid assets. The eighth deadly mistake which people do, we are human beings, we are not robots. We have emotions, there is greed, there is fear, there is regret, there is also about competition, what my neighbor is earning, what my colleague is earning, what my relative is earning. Yes, we get carried away with emotions. The emotion of greed and the emotion of fear is very powerful. It's generally seen that when markets are doing very well, people get greedy and they tend to invest into an asset class which is doing very well. If equity is doing well, everybody rushes towards equity. If gold is doing well, people start rushing towards gold. If interest rates are high, people sell all the asset class and move towards fixed income. If international markets are doing well, people start towards international asset. The idea is don't get carried away with the emotions. Stick to your plan, stick to your asset allocation. Also understand that asset classes move through cycles. There will be periods where every asset class will correct by 10, 15, 20, 30%, especially equity. During these times, understand ups and downs are part of an investment journey. The mistake number 9, unfortunately, when you are doing your asset allocation, the most important thing is to understand your goal and also understand your risk appetite. We might all of us look same, but technically all of us are different in terms of how different we are to looking at losses. Some people by nature are conservative and some people by nature are risk-taking. Understand your goals, understand how you are as a person, understand your risk appetite, and then build a portfolio which is aligned to your goals and your risk appetite. And last but not the least, which is the 10th biggest mistake what generally people do, investors do, the idea is they earn money and they save money, but the problem is the savings and investments are not sufficient. They might feel, oh, I'm doing SIP, but that SIP is only for 5,000 rupees. Simple maths. If you have to divide life into three pieces or 3 halves, first 30 years you are basically learning all the skills, education, so that you can earn and you can be successful. The next 30 years of your life is when you start earning and you make a lot of money. And the last 30 years is a retired life. A simple maths, you will have a good long-term retirement. So ideally, a simple 2,000 or a 5,000 rupees SIP is not sufficient to fund your goals, your children's education, their marriage, life emergencies, and your retirement. You also have to understand, yes, I'm not against enjoyment. The idea is enjoy life currently, spend money, but also understand if you save and invest with a sufficient amount, you will also be able to enjoy in the future. So when you save and invest, you enjoy now also, and you invest in the future also. I hope you understood the top 10 mistakes what I have seen generally investors do. I will just do a quick summary, a recap of it. First, defining your goals. Second, understanding asset allocation. Third, stick to your core competency. Fourth, timing the market and understanding that time in the market is more important. Fifth, don't get carried away with average returns. 12% returns over long time doesn't mean 12% every year. The idea of leverage. Sixth, don't take leverage. Stick to what you have and stick to your plan. Don't over-invest into illiquid assets. Have small portion into illiquid assets. Eighth, keep your emotions in check. Markets will always go through ups and downs. Keep your greed and fear in check. Calculate your risk and then you decide how much to have in risky assets and safe assets. And last but not the least, have sufficient amount of savings so that you are able to achieve your goals in a stress-free fashion. Happy investing, stay invested.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.